All right, we are at 4:30. So we'll call this meeting of Dunn County's Judiciary and Law Committee to order. We have some department heads on the Zoom and pretty light agenda today. And we'll call the roll. Looks like everybody is here. Supervisor Bauer, Supervisor Gilbert, Supervisor Wilsey, Supervisor Vandermeulen, and myself. And so now we move to approval of the minutes from the last meeting, which was actually September. I'm not exactly sure of the date, but can I get a motion to approve those minutes? Supervisor Vandermeulen.
Second.
Supervisor Wilsey seconds. Any discussion of the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Any public comments, Katie? Okay, on to staff reports. I know that the district attorney, Andrea, is not here today. So if we have any questions pertaining to her report, I'm sure we could send an email. And next is child support, and Josie is on Zoom. Hi, Josie, do you have anything to add to your report?
The only thing I have to add is that we will be welcoming our new administrative assistant, Tiffany Merriman, on Thursday of this week. So we're super excited about that. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
That was my only question.
Yep, the background check and fingerprinting came back. So yep, after giving her 2 weeks, she's able to start with us this Thursday.
Sounds good. Thank you, Josie.
Thank you so much.
Carl, do you have something else?
Just one more thing. How do you get a paternity establishment rate of 106%? I've always thought that 100% was pretty good.
Yes, so that happens because it's math. They compare the number of children needing paternity adjudicated in the prior fiscal year to those with paternity adjudicated in this fiscal year. And so you can end up with over 100%. I know there's a more detailed explanation for that included in my annual report every year. But that's how. So apparently I must have been able to get more paternity adjudications in the 23 fiscal year than in 22, something like that.
Good enough for me.
I can include a more detailed explanation, Carl, in my next month's report. How about that?
Thanks, Josie.
Thank you.
I know that Melissa is on vacation for emergency management. And so any questions we can send to her by email. And the medical examiner is also not here, and Marcy's not on the Zoom. So we'll move on to the sheriff's report. Anything to add to your report, Sheriff?
No, not that comes to mind, I guess.
All right. Any questions for the sheriff?
I just like to say Jake Blum must have been doing pretty good then, huh?
Jake Bloom, yeah, it was,
That it is.
I nominated him for first responder of the year for the 29th Assembly District, and so he got a trip to Madison and was recognized down there.
That's great.
All right. And we'll hear from the sheriff again later on in the agenda. And now we'll move on to the courts. Katie, do you have anything to add to your report?
I guess the only thing additional to report is Judge Mayer fell and she is now not able to conduct court, but she's doing okay. And we're having some reserve judges cover for branch 2 at this time until she's able to get back on the bench and hold court.
Okay.
So,
Serious and
well, she did fracture her pelvis in 4 areas.
Goodness.
So yeah, quite serious, but she's doing okay at this point and seems to be in good spirits. So that's good.
Good news. Thank you for that, Katie.
Yeah.
Anybody have any further questions for Katie? All right. And now we will move on to CJCC, and I see Sarah is on Zoom. Anything to add to your report, Sarah?
Nothing to add, thank you.
Okay. I had a question about the last piece of pending legislation that you mentioned. Just curiosity, it's something I've never heard of, but I'm trying to scroll to it now. It's a new kind of drug, Canton or something? Or is it?
Yeah, so that's kratom. It's sort
Kratom.
of an herbal drug. It has a lot of problems associated with it. So it's something that it would not be good to have legal, I think, but it's being reviewed at the state level.
Interesting. Yeah, it said the statute says it. The proposed bill removes kratom from the schedule of controlled substances. I never heard of it. You got anything to add, Sheriff?
Yeah, I can clarify that a little bit. Right now, it's classified as a controlled substance. The push in Madison right now is to declassify it so they can legalize it. It's they claim it is a drug that they can use to treat opioid addiction, but in reality that it's abused like any other drug. And sheriffs on the other side of the state that border with Michigan are kind of having nightmares with it, almost like people on LSD, just crazy strength and reactions. And Florence County Sheriff has given us some reports over the years about it because it's legal in Michigan. It's a scheduled illegal substance in Wisconsin, and they're trying to remove it from that list so they can legalize it. And it's a kratom. They've been making a push in Madison for the last couple years on it, and Wisconsin Sheriff and Deputy Sheriffs is opposed to it. Badger State Sheriffs is opposed to it. The Medical Society is opposed to it. A lot of people are staying neutral on it because there's a lot of push. They actually hired the Kratom Association actually hired a former legislature as their lobbyist in Madison to try and have more leverage down there on it to get it legalized. So there's a strong push on it. I've seen the past president, when I was the president of Wisconsin Sheriff and Deputy Sheriffs, I've seen a lot of push from the Kratom Association on it, and there's no, in my opinion, no legitimate purpose for it, and nothing good will come of it.
Interesting. Yeah, thank you, Sheriff. And look into that a little bit. Any other questions for Sarah? No? Okay. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank
Yeah. And now we will jump down to number 7, consideration of actions to be taken by the Judiciary and Law Committee. And we have dissolving the current deputy eligibility list for the sheriff's office. Can you give us a quick background, please?
Yeah, the last hiring process, we interviewed 6. We had 6 qualified applicants to come to the interviews. I hired 3 of them. The other 2 have been eliminated on background checks. I actually tried to hire the 6th one as a reserve deputy to try and get him on board, and so he was given a background packet and never returned it. So we're assuming he withdrew from the process. And so we don't currently have an opening, but we'd like to start a hiring process. So we have an eligibility list. So in the event that we do have an opening, we can hire from that list.
And do these lists expire?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. Without action from this committee, we have to sit on them for 2 years before we can start a new list. And that's why you see it back on the agenda, especially in the last couple of years, quite often to dissolve the current list. Once I've deemed nobody else on the list hireable, I come back to you before that 2-year period to ask for the start of a new list. That's by county ordinance.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't, do we need a motion? I don't see a resolution on here, just a voice approval. Okay. All right. Yeah, let's have a motion. Supervisor Bauer moves to dissolve the current sheriff's eligibility list. Supervisor Gilbert seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. The list will be dissolved. Okay. And any announcements from anybody on the committee? Nope. Hearing none, the next meeting will be here on November 27th at 4:30 PM, and we are adjourned.
And Katie, we don't know if it is.